I personally typically use the screen share for the first time, usually when I'm going through pricing. So if we've gotten into the conversation about pricing, we've done a little breakdown of what each line item looks like. I'll usually send over a screen share walking through that just as a quick way to say, hey, here's all the line items we discuss. Here's what they relate back to. And then if there were key things that really stick out to them, I might even send a second video in that same email being like, okay, here's the that one key feature that you were curious about, and here's how it works with that other key feature that you were curious about, and really focusing, using like two videos to kind of complement each other in that sense.
Yeah.
Again, go ahead, James. Sorry.
I was going to say, I think you have an example of a pricing conversation, a pricing video walkthrough that you can share with everybody. So I want to give you the reins. And you guys listen to how he phrases this and the way he flows through here, because this is an important lesson for how to use video outside of just prospecting. I noticed very many of you were only using it for prospecting. So let's listen in for Parker's value here.
Hey there, Tim. It was great speaking with you today. Wanted to make this cool little video just to walk through those couple different packages that we discussed, and I will take screenshots and attach them below for you as well. I'm bring myself down just so you can see a little bit easier. So the first package that we discussed is one I would most recommend if we're looking at doing that LMS style, is going to be the business package here with the SSO added on. It's going to include all the features we discussed, the branded sharing pages, those calls to actions in video, all the analytics in the back end of Vidyard, also being sent off into HubSpot. So we can understand specifically who's watching, pass that data along to our success team who's going to reach out to identify churn risk, but also just make sure that
I can probably stop it there just because it gets into the same packages breaking it through again.
Yep.
But I think the key thing there that's really helped me, and when I first started, I wasn't quite doing this, but I accelerated so many deals and saved myself so much time, is when you're breaking down pricing like that, you really only get into breaking down every little detailed feature, right? They've been through the demo with you. They know what they're seeing, but you can highlight those key items, right? Going back. So in that case, HubSpot was key to them, going back and really highlighting that point. And then later on in my email, I might have a screenshot or two linking back to that key piece, but you can keep it short, sweet, and just quickly break down those line items. So if they pass it on to finance or to legal or whoever else needs to see this in action, they've got it quick, easy. They can watch that video in like 2 minutes and they're good to go.
Do you guys also have a different suggestion for video length?
No, I think back to my earlier point, it depends on what you're sending over. Sometimes there are going to be objections that might take a bit longer to walk through. I think anything under 5 minutes is probably okay, depending on the context. Once you get past that, no one's going to want to sit and watch 5 minutes, just like they don't want to spend 15, 20 minutes reading through an email. So sort of keeping that mostly short and sweet. Sometimes you're going to have to go over 45 seconds because you're walking through a complex part of a proposal or a complex part of the product itself, which might require a bit more attention and time. But as long as it's, again, being clear, back to your point, James, too, you don't want to be unclear in that video and just rambling on. Keep it short, sweet, concise. And sometimes that concision is going to take longer than 45 seconds, but should never be over that 5 minute mark, in my opinion.
Lilah, what are your thoughts on that?
I think too, like it's free under 5 minutes. So that is your cap, literally. I think with Vidyard, Drift, Loom, like all the players. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that right?
I think for most video players, it seems to be the average. Right? Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I would say like, if you're just reaching out to them, just like a quick, like if they're ghosting you or something, or just a quick touch on the deal or to get them re-engaged. I mean, it's a super creative way to just do a quick video, like under a minute, I would say, definitely under a minute, 30 to 45 seconds preferred. Yeah, it'd be perfect.
We've got a good suggestion from Brian McPhee here in the chat. Under 1 minute for prospecting with a thumbnail that will capture the prospect's attention. I love that. And then this is an interesting one. Under 3 minutes when reviewing a proposal or following up after an education discussion. And I like that he used the phrase education discussion.
It's a good line.
That's good advice.
Because there's a lot to digest after you have a disco, or a demo. Like there's so much in there that, hey, this, I know that I walked through this and this, and we can help you in these areas. Is this still going to be important to you? When can we set up the next call? Like that's important.
But also keeping it relevant to Lilah, I think as well, right? Like only sharing and sending over what like their eyes lit up on the demo about, or like what they're concerned about. Most of us are probably selling solutions that have a lot of different parts of them that can help a lot of different people depending on what they need. But we might talk about it in the demo, but it might not be relevant to you. So I'm only going to send over to you what you cared about, what makes sense for the particular problem you're trying to solve for, and keep my video focused on that. If you want more information on anything else, we can do that. But
Yeah.
I'm going to send you what you need and what you want.
And I think if we're talking about momentum, let's talk about momentum. You know that it's a heightened, if you're an AE, like after a disco or after a demo, they're all on board. Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's go. And then what happens? The next week goes by, 2 weeks go by. They're ghosting you. They're not getting back to you as much. The energy isn't there. So if you create a video right after that session of like a summary of what you guys did, they can go back and replay that and get your energy and just remind them why they're still interested, because they forget. People have their own days. They have their own projects.
They reprioritize too. That's another part of it. Sometimes it's not that they forgot. It's just that you become less of a priority given some circumstance that takes place.
The biggest tactic that I find that works really successfully. I just lost my Zoom here. Sorry. Jumping around on screens too much. I think for me, the best tactic that works is the summary one when you notice things are slowing down. And, after that first initial demo or first time you share pricing, when you've got most of your decision makers there, the follow-up email you're going to send over plus the follow-up video is going to be a bit longer. There's going to be a lot of information in there. There's probably going to be different stakeholders they got to go see and talk to. And if I'm noticing that they're falling off after 2 or 3 weeks, they haven't quite got back to me, I might send a follow-up that's extremely concise, a very short video, like a minute tops, being like, hey, just wanted to circle back with those key points we discussed here, some of the objections you brought up in the call as well, and just give it to them on basically a silver platter so they can toss it along to whoever they needed to go meet with, they needed to go speak with. It's right there. It's short, sweet. They don't have to worry about sharing that huge follow-up. Now it's small, it's short, and it's a chance to re-engage with them too.
I think a bump on the email, if it's an email, a bump. And if it's on LinkedIn, hey, curious if you saw my video. I've said that a couple times and they always look at it.
Morgan has a tendency to say any feedback on my video in LinkedIn, and that gets interesting responses. Parker, what is the best time to send a follow-up video?
Every time. Every time.
You heard it here, folks.
Your resident walkthrough expert speaks. I think reading the room and knowing when it makes sense to send a follow-up video and understanding why you're sending a video. If you're just sending a video as a follow-up because you think you should be doing it, that's not the right video to send. But if you have relevant, proper information that you're sharing that you think would be pertinent for this person to hear, people they're going to share with to be hearing, then send that video, right? If it's pricing and you just showed them pricing, there was a bit of hesitancy there, make sure you send a video to walk them through it and so they understand the line items and they pass that on. If you just walk through that key part of the tool, the product, send a walkthrough if it's complex so that they understand it. But don't just send a video for video's sake. Send a video with something relevant, meaningful that gets to the point.